Here is my wonderful audience. Hi everybody, my name is Anthony Ware. Thank you for attending. I imagine most people have heard somebody claim to be on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. And if that's all the information you have, you might assume that they might have a food sensitivity to wheat, gluten, or dairy. When, actually they could be just wanting to lose weight or eat healthier. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how to make a gluten-free, dairy-free gravy. Two gravies actually. One will be vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free gravy. It's very good vegetarian broth. Call it no chicken broth. There's no chicken in it. It's vegetarian. We're going to also make one, which I've actually already made, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. Free-range chicken broth, which is actually chicken broth, so it's not vegetarian. But it will be gluten-free and dairy-free. Gravy can make or break your meal. If you make a great gravy, people will talk about it maybe for a week, because it's really good gravy. If you make a bad gravy, people will talk behind your back and say, God, that was some really bad gravy. So I want you to have a good gravy experience. So we're going to get with this. Unfortunately, I was once an assistant chef that had to make meals for people with special diets, and I would have to substitute wheat flour for something else, and a lot of these people could not have dairy. So my favorite wheat substitute was millet flour. And I always love olive oil. Olive oil is really good for you. So, the art of making gravy requires that you make a roux first. Roux, which I have right here, is today going to be made with millet flour and olive oil. And what you do to make this roux, it looks like this, is that you take, for the gravy we're going to make, a 1/4 cup of millet flour and 1/8 of a cup of olive oil. And you might still want to add a little bit more millet flour so that it looks something like this. So it's actually kind of pasty-like. Well, you're going to put it on low heat, and you're going to stir it frequently for 3 minutes until it bubbles. And then you're going to set it aside and let it cool, because it should cool before you add it to your broth. So now we're going to assume that I have put 2 cups of the vegetarian broth in this pan here, which already has gravy in it, but it took 2 cups. I brought it to a boil. And while it's boiling, then I got my roux, and I added it to it. Let's say it's in this pan right here. This is so you can see. And I slowly add the roux to the broth until it starts to thicken. And this broth is boiling. And as it starts to thicken, you'll feel it. You'll see it thicken. You reduce the heat down to a very middle, so it's not boiling so hard. You take a little bit more roux, and you add it to it till it's thick to your desire. I like it to hold a ridge. That means that when you take the whisk out of the gravy, it doesn't just go flat again. It holds a ridge. That is a good indication it's thick enough. You do the same thing with regular chicken broth. You bring it to a boil, you add your roux till it thickens. You turn it down to a lower heat, add a little more roux till you like it. Now you've got gravy. That's pretty easy, but there's another step. You need to put some spice in it. I dislike salt and pepper, but some people like coriander. Some people like parsley, sage, a little rosemary or thyme. It reminds me of an old song that I love so much. But anyway, after you've done that, now you've got good gravy. And you can be proud of it. And you can put it on, oh, we have it over here, mashed potatoes, or your biscuits, or maybe some turkey. Unless you're a vegetarian, then it's probably going to go on the mashed potatoes and the biscuits. But I'm going to reiterate what I just told you, just so that you can remember how simple it is to make excellent gravy. You make the roux. 1/4 cup millet flour, 1/8 of a cup olive oil. Mix it together, put it on low heat for 3 minutes until the bubbles inside are decide and let it cool. Bring your broth to a boil. Slowly add the roux to the boiling broth until it thickens. Reduce the heat. Add a little bit more roux till it reaches the thickness you like. Put the spices in it. Voila. Now there is a blog you can go to. It is called Intricate. They have lots of gluten-free, dairy-free recipes, most of which are vegan. And you can also go to a couple of websites that will tell you why it's good to not eat wheat gluten and dairy. Prevention.com will tell you how to and what will happen if you do not eat dairy. 7 things. They're all great things. If you go to the Dummies website, the people that made, for dummies, they will tell you why you shouldn't eat gluten, and they have lots of good recipes too. I remember when I was a kid, my great-grandma Long, she had this saying that once in a while I would hear it around Christmas or Thanksgiving. And it would usually be because somebody brought an inferior gravy. And she would say, if you can't make good gravy, why did you grow those potatoes? That's what she said. Would somebody like to try the gravy?
Sure.
We have some mashed potatoes right over here.
Sure.
Thank you.